Hello, my name is Philippa Langley. This short series of films has been done in celebration of the first 100 years of research, the centenary of the Richard III Society. It is one of the oldest and largest historical societies in the world. We hope that you enjoy them. Thank you. Richard III's remains were found in 2012, and soon afterwards the media published photographs of his skeleton all around the world. Richard's spine showed that he had a scoliosis. This is not an uncommon condition. You'd never guess that many famous people have scoliosis of the spine, like Usain Bolt and Princess Eugenie, Elizabeth Taylor, Johnny Rotten, James Blake, Lamar Gant, and Vanessa Buckley, to name but a few. Its most visible sign is uneven shoulders, one being higher than the other. Even so, you never find such a thing remarked on in any descriptions of the living man, or in notes or diaries by those who met him during his lifetime. Our late departed Queen also had one shoulder higher than the other, which she had placed on public record. Scoliosis is a physical condition, a disorder. It's not a disability. The word hunchback is the most inappropriate term, which we try not to use today. But Shakespeare passed this down to us with his description of Richard as the bunched-backed toad. A Tudor printer then inadvertently adding an H to give us the word we now recognise. It describes the condition of kyphosis, a forward bend of the spine, which, when acute, can produce a hunched appearance. No person suffering from kyphosis could have taken a leading part in the battles of the Wars of the Roses, as Richard did fighting for his brother, King Edward IV. In those days, captains and men fought shoulder to shoulder on foot, in full body armour, wielding swords and axes and requiring the ability for a 360-degree line of sight. Or on some occasions, as with his fatal charge at Bosworth, Richard would have needed to handle a strong and spirited war horse, and at the same time employing his lance and another chosen weapon or weapons. Ask anyone who's tried it. The myth of the hunchback king is one that Shakespeare created in his play. He also gave him a withered arm and made him lame. So disfigured, in fact, that the character Richard says dogs bark at him in the street. All this is entirely fictitious, as we can see from the sound and healthy limbs of the real Richard's remains, now in Leicester Cathedral. The main problem is that evolution has conditioned us to believe what we see. This is why art intelligence can convincingly impersonate someone. And when generations of actors depict Richard III as hunchbacked and deformed, this gets imprinted in the public mind. And centuries of historians have portrayed Richard III as he was depicted through the eyes of his enemies, the Tudors, who needed to demonise him because they killed him and seized his kingdom. So here's the question we have to grapple with today. In this age of screen and artificial intelligence versus reality, performance versus truth, can we learn to weigh up two conflicting ideas side by side? One real life, the other a piece of clever fiction. We need these skills of distinguishing between them, otherwise we can be led by the nose to believe almost anything. As a society dedicated to researching the truth, we have established beyond doubt that the only thing wrong with Richard's physique was a sideways curve to his spine, making his right shoulder somewhat higher. It's been proved that this was easily disguised by clothing and armour. We've even found a young man, Dominic Smee, with precisely Richard's scoliosis, and that we've outfitted him in armour and clothing such as Richard would have worn. And this is to give an idea of how he really looked. The more research we do on Richard III, the more we learn. And we learn how different he is from Shakespeare's evil hunchbacked toad. We would like also to thank all of those with scoliosis who've come forward to educate us about this condition. It is because of you, together with the discovery of the king, that knowledge and understanding and awareness have replaced ignorance and propaganda.
Philippa, would you mind answering a question for us on this? Why did the scoliosis specialist in the television documentary The King in the Car Park use the pejorative and scientifically incorrect term of hunchback to describe scoliosis in the king's remains? What was going on there?
Yeah, I discovered some years later that behind the scenes, a member of the film crew had asked him to use the term to describe Richard. The specialist had fought against it, but was eventually worn down. The film crew member knew the effect that it would also have on me. By then it had been confirmed that the king had scoliosis, not kyphosis. So the burden of truth and factual accuracy at that point had become overwhelming for me. Because back then, in 2012 and 2013, Shakespeare still loomed large. So thank you for watching. We hope that these have been helpful. And if you want to find out more about any of these subjects, please visit the Richard III Society website. Thank you.